Welcome to another practice with me, Anne. Today we're going to be practicing a restorative yoga session. So I will teach you how to set up the poses. We won't hold them for very long, so I advise that you have some sort of timer with you. So I'll show you set up, how to be in the pose, any adjustments you might need to make, and how to come out of the pose. And then you can decide how long you'd like to stay in each pose. I'll give you an idea of how long it's ideal to hold, but everybody's different, and depending on what's going on with your body today, you may find that you want to hold this pose longer or not as long. So you get to decide, always honoring your body, even if it looks like it's an easy restorative pose or something that you should be able to do. Please honor how your body is today. I'm going to do this practice with things that you can find at home. For restorative yoga, you need a lot of props, and most people aren't going to have the kind of props that you need. So I'm going to invite you to get 2 pillows. These are fancy pillows I have from my grandma, so I thought I might as well use them for restorative yoga. So they're pretty squishy. You could use pillows from your bed. If you have those fancy pillows on your bed that are just decorative, pillows from your couch, whatever works for you, but have at least 2 pillows. And then if you happen to have yoga blankets, which are Mexican blankets, or blankets that fold easily, then you can have 3 of those. If you don't, I would advise having 2 bath towels or beach towels. So these are my pool or beach towels that I'll use. And right now I'm sitting on my 3rd blanket. So the 3rd blanket would be to cover up if you get cold. You may not need it. And even though, depending on where you live, it could be a warm day. It's fairly warm here in Tucson, Arizona. But even if it's warm, as you practice restorative yoga, for a lot of people, your body temperature can drop, can fall as you get relaxed and comfortable. That happens for me. So wearing long sleeve, having socks, whatever, you can have all of that nearby. So if you find that you're getting chilly, you can use those things to stay warm, because you can't relax if you're cold, if you're not comfortable, if you feel uneven, if you don't have props to properly prop you up. We need all of those to really support ourselves. So this practice is about really physically supporting yourself to allow the mind to come quiet, to become calm. I know in normal life that's difficult to do, and right now during what we're going through, it's even more difficult to do. So you just do your best. Even if you feel like your mind is just going nuts, you are doing something good for your body, for your mind, for your breath. So remember that. The goal is not to fall asleep, but sometimes we do. We're sleep deprived right now, and pretty much always. So if that happens, so be it. That's why you have the timer to alert you when it's time to come out of the pose and maybe move on to the next pose. You could do one of these poses, you could do all of them, you could do 2. You decide what you do. Last thing that I recommend, not required, a washcloth to cover your eyes when you come into your poses. Some poses might not work depending on how your head is turned, but having a nice washcloth that works as an eye pillow to cover your eyes to help darken the room. Having it dark helps you to relax as well. Just a reminder again to honor your body. These are the props you'll need. If you find that you have other props you want to use or more pillows, you're welcome to do that. I'm trying to do this practice, that things that you already have in your home that could easily allow you to do this practice. One more thing, just a reminder, my YouTube videos are always free, and they always will be. Someone recently asked me about paying for my classes, so I have information. I'll have that below in the comments. You can find me on social media. You can email me at therealgofitgirl@gmail.com. If you'd like to donate to my teaching, you're welcome to. If you don't have the means or don't want to, don't feel obligated. It's just if you'd like to do that. I am donating part of the money to local Tucson charities, and you can find more information at gofitgirl.com. Click classes and you'll find all of that information. Let's move on to our practice. You're welcome to have some calm, quiet music in the background if that works for you. Some people think it's a good idea to have music, others don't. I leave that up to you. I'm not playing music so that you can hear me better, and also for copyright issues. So I'm going to move stuff out of the way. You may find me kind of jiggering around because I want you to be able to see me as I set up the poses. So I'm going to move my pillows off of my mat. I'm sitting on my 3rd blanket. So I'm going to move that as well. I don't know if I'll need my blanket to keep me warm today because I'm fairly warm, and when I teach my body temperature tends to go up, but that could change for me as well. So take one of your blankets, which is your towel, unless you do have a blanket, and you want to fold it. You want to kind of get it to this place. Everybody's is going to be different. Try to smooth out the wrinkles as much as you can, and then I'm going to fold this 3 times to make a nice pillow. So for most of us, we kind of tend to sit like this. And so when you lie down, it's really hard, especially on a flat surface. You could be on a yoga mat, you could be on your carpet. If you're on a harder surface, you might even want to put a blanket underneath for padding. So you always have that as an option. It's really hard for us to lie down and relax. So having support under your head helps you to relax your neck, your shoulders, your upper back, your chest, your lower back. So decide, everything is optional. I'm giving you these choices. You can try it and then change it out if you find the need. Always having water is a good idea. Sip your water when you need it. Sip your water when you don't need it so that you can stay hydrated before you need it. I know probably you're not drinking enough water right now, so drink more water. We're going to come to lie down in constructive rest. So you come down onto your mat or the floor, resting your head on your pillow towel or blanket. So I like to actually have the base of my skull, which is the very back of my skull, that rests down on the support and my neck kind of free of it. And then have your feet that they're on the mat and your knees are bent. And then you're going to step your feet wide, like as wide as your mat, and allow your knees to come in toward each other so they are supporting each other. You can shift your shoulders, your hips. Excuse me, I think I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. And then have your hands and arms rest the most comfortable place for you. If that's out to the side, if you'd like to have your hands on your belly, on your chest, one in each spot. It's nice to have your hands somewhere in your torso so you can start to connect with your breath. Close your eyes or soften your gaze and just start to notice your breath here. So we'll do this pose together. You don't need to pause anything here. We won't be here very long. Let's just kind of start our practice connecting with your breath, with your body, and with your mind. So the next time you take an inhale, take a fuller, longer, deeper inhale to your capacity, not overdoing it. And when you exhale, let out a sigh. Do that again. One more time. And settle in. Notice if you still need to make adjustments. Adjustments are fine. Scratching an itch. Just notice if you're fidgeting. And I actually notice how much I fidget once I re-watch my videos. So just be in the best place you can be. See if you can come to calm, to quiet. The more quiet the body is, the more quiet the mind will become, hopefully. Don't judge yourself if you're like thinking about a million things right now. Come back to your breath. So you want to be present right here, right now, but we tend to be in the past or in the future and really not appreciating what's happening right now. And the breath can help you with that. So as you inhale, remind yourself, I am. And as you exhale here, you can repeat it over and over. The next time your body receives an inhale, make it fuller, longer, and deeper. As you exhale, really let go. Release. Move your fingers and your toes. Maybe bring your feet back to hip distance, right in front of your knees. Move your hands, your feet, your wrists, your ankles. You could stretch. You could hug your knees in and rock. Whatever feels really delicious right here as you start to prepare your body for the next pose. So in between every pose, we're going to come back up to seated so you can get the props you need. Instead of trying to grab them with a leg or an arm, you pull a muscle. And even though I know you're going to get more relaxed, it's best to roll over to one side. Stay here for a moment, so don't jerk your head up. Press your hands and arms into your surface to slowly lift up, trying to bring your head up last. So taking that moment, that pause, before you transition into the next pose. So the next pose we're going to do is a heart opener over the roll. So again, I'm going to show you setup, adjustments you might need to make, how to come out of the pose, and then you'll decide how long you're going to hold. So this one I recommend 5 minutes. 2 minutes is appropriate. Less than that, of course, because you need to honor your body. But about 5 minutes will give you I believe, full satisfaction for this pose. So take your towel or whatever you have that's acting as your blanket today, and you want to come to about this position. Everyone's is going to be a little bit different. Again, smoothing out any wrinkles. From the short end, you're going to make a roll. And everyone's different. Some of you may need a really thin roll and some may need a bigger roll. I know for me, this is about okay. You could also use your other towel to support your head. So you want a thinner amount to support your head. You may or may not need it. You'll figure it out. It'll take a little while to adjust. So the idea is that your shoulder blades, the lower tips of your shoulder blades, I know it's harder to see because I've got a long sleeve shirt on, lower tips of the shoulder blades, so think about where your armpit is and then kind of drawing a line behind your back, which I know is difficult to do. If you know where a bra strap goes, that's about where you would want to rest on your roll. Another way you could set up is lie on your side with your armpit over the roll and your arm is above the roll. So I'm going to come right to the edge and then I'll start to roll onto my back. Coming into constructive rest and then bringing your head down. So here you may find, I'm uneven, I need to shift a little. So you want your arms to easily come above the roll. I have a wall in the way so I can't completely expand, but they don't have to stay there. So if you'd prefer to rest your hands or your arms on the roll and your hands on your chest, on your belly, out to the side, out in a T, cactus arms. Whoops, I just knocked over my water bottle. Cactus arms are a possibility. So find what's comfortable and shift your hips. It's up to you if you want to keep your knees bent, feet on your mat. I like to step my feet wide like we started and have my knees rest toward each other. You may find that extending your legs out long works for you. Make sure your legs are relaxed and make sure this feels okay in your low back. So check in, make any adjustments, shifts, closing your eyes or softening your gaze. You could use your washcloth here. So I'm going to fold it like this. So it's just really covering my eyes and resting over the side of my face. So I'll just take a couple of breaths here before I show you how to come out of the pose. So always making shifting is okay. Check in if it's adjusting or if it's fidgeting. You might feel that this is pretty intense, and it can be because we're coming into a back bend here, and normally our bodies are in some sort of hunched forward fold. And so this can be intense physically. It can be intense emotionally because your heart is open and vulnerable. So you could place your hands on your chest. You could take one of the pillows and put it on your chest. That might be too much in your face. You could take a blanket or another towel and place it on your chest as well to add a little bit of weight. So if you decide to extend your legs out long before you come out of this pose, you'll come back to have your knees bent, your feet on the mat about hip distance apart. So right in front of your hips, in front of your knees, and then your feet. and then roll over to one side, just like we did earlier. Just let your washcloth or your eye pillow fall off your face. You don't need to get it. Stay here for a breath or two before you press yourself up to seated. So between each pose, you want to take a pause, come to a neutral seat. So if you know that you really sit hunched, you can take one of your towels and sit on the folded edge. And you can be cross-legged, you can have your legs out long, soles of your feet together. So whatever position, is comfortable for you. You also have this option. For a lot of people, this helps to elongate the spine, especially if you feel like you're rounding in any part of your back. And just take a moment. So that pose 2 to 5 minutes. If you find that longer or shorter is better for you, then that's what works for you. And every day will be different. Okay, so the next pose, I'm going to move that aside. I'm going to use a pillow blanket for under my head. I have my washcloth ready. And I'm actually going to use both of my pillows for this next one. You might not need or want to use both of them. I'll show you options. And coming back into constructive rest. So I don't want these to be in the way so that you can see me. I'm going to lay down just like I did for the past two poses. I'm just going to do this on one side. This is going to be a twist. Call this windshield wiper twist. So it's a fairly open twist. Step your feet as wide as your mat. Let's see, my props are not close enough to me. So I'm going to show you how I would come into it. Then I'm going to move my props. They'll kind of be in the way of my face. And then I'll show you how to set up the props. So I'm going to move my knees over to one side. So inhale tall, and on your exhale, move your knees over to the side. You can always adjust your legs, bringing them closer together, farther apart. I'm going to put a pillow in between my legs and underneath my bottom leg. Arms can be wherever is comfortable for you. If you need to adjust your support under your head, you do. So I'm going to come up and get my pillows so they're more accessible to come into this pose. You can see the options for the pillows. So I'm going to put one underneath and then one in between. You could just have one underneath. Whoop. You could just have one in between or none. Feel free to adjust your legs. Have your arms wherever is comfortable, whether on your body, out to the side. Just make sure you feel comfortable. That's the most important thing. And you're not touching anything extraneous. So you don't want to touch anything that you're not using. So if you have a blanket or something in the way, just slide it out of the way. Always coming back to the breath. This one, it's kind of the same as the first one, anywhere between 2 and 5 minutes. And I forgot to mention this in the first, because of the position of your body, I like to have my phone on my belly, because when the timer goes off, I don't know where it is and I'll scramble looking for it. So if your body is fairly neutral, you could lay it on your belly. I can barely feel it. You can adjust it. You could have a blanket on top of you and put it on top of the blanket. And it's just easy to tap it to turn the alarm off. So when you're ready to come out of the pose, I would take the pillow out between your knees if you have it there. The next time you inhale, reach your legs back up. Adjust your feet to come back to constructive rest. Then you would step your feet wide. As you exhale, you move your legs over the other side. And the setup may be different. You might utilize the pillows in a different way. Try to have it even on the two sides. If you hold the first side for 2 minutes, hold the second side for 2 minutes. That's not always the case though, because you may find something going on in your body that you need to make an adjustment or you need to come out. And I forgot to mention that, again, you can use the washcloth over your eyes to help block out any light. And sometimes it's just nice to have a little bit, it's not very heavy, but have a little bit of weight on your face to remind your body to relax. The next pose we're going to do is called Baddha Konasana. So I'm going to show you setup of the legs forward so that you can see better what that looks like. So Baddha Konasana is bound angle pose with the feet together and your knees out to the sides. Now for a lot of people, having the feet together is not comfortable, so they can always be, they don't have to touch, they can be apart, they can be farther forward. You're going to use the pillows under your knees for support. So I'll show it kind of here, and then I'll show you lying down. So it's opening your hips. You don't want to have your feet super close, even if that's how you could normally do it, because this is a restorative pose, so you want to relax. So you're not really working here. Your body is still opening up, allowing the hips to relax, but it's not an active practice. So it'll look something like this, but I'm going to turn and do my setup. So I'll have one pillow on each side. I have closet doors behind me, so my pillow won't come flat, but that's okay. It doesn't need to. I have my support under my head. I have my washcloth ready. If I were chilly, I would have my other blanket probably here at my feet to help cover myself. It's a lot easier when you have a teacher to do it. That's one of my favorite things. I love to tuck my students in, but I'll have to virtually tuck you in. I'm going to come to lie down, and I'll get my legs adjusted. And then have my pillows to support my knees, my thighs, and you can adjust. You can move them depending on how your pillows are. You may have them smaller or bigger. My feet aren't touching right now. And this one I would recommend between 5 and 10 minutes. If you want to go longer, you go longer. If you want to go shorter, you go shorter. Putting the washcloth over my eyes, adjusting my shoulders. If you find that you even need to move your legs out more. If you feel fairly relaxed and you want to hold this for 10 minutes, but your hips are really talking to you, you could extend your legs out like I did, or you could even straighten them. And you could adjust your pillows so that your knees are being supported as you extend your legs out. So I even have my pillows closer and could still come into Baddha Konasana. So you can work with that to find your adjustment. Arms in a comfortable position for you. I like to have my hands typically on my belly because I can connect with my breath. It doesn't always feel great for me to have my arms out, but you find what's comfortable for you today, right now. And then you just come back to connecting with your breath. Adjust where your phone might be for your timer. Sometimes I'll tuck my phone like right under my low back. I can't feel it because it's in the arch, and then it's right there that I can easily get it. Because I before set my timer and I can't find it, I'm scrambling, and then I have to sit up, or it just kind of, it takes me out of this bliss that I put myself in. To come out of the pose, you could extend your legs out long. You could bend your knees and hug your knees into your chest, rock a little side to side. If you're still in Baddha Konasana, you could use your hands on the outside of your thighs to close them like a book. Extend out long, hug in, whatever you want to do. So you have a few options. And then eventually always ending up over to one side. Take a breath or two here in the fetal position. You don't want to hurry between the poses. The transitions between the poses are just as important as the poses. And then when you're ready, press yourself up, bringing your head up last. Come into a neutral seat for a moment. Notice what's changed. I can feel, I haven't held these poses for very long, but I already feel changes in my face, in my brain, my shoulders, my neck. Imagine if you hold them for longer. All right, the next pose we're going to do is called Pill Bug. I'm going to use one of my pillows. You might find that you want to use both or none. So coming back down onto your mat in constructive rest. Knees bent, your feet on your mat, support adjusted. So pill bug is like the opposite of child's pose if you know child's pose. So some of you may want to use a pillow, 2 pillows. You might want to use one for your legs and your arms and chest. So you could just put a pillow between your legs and stay right here. You might want to hug your knees in. This pose I would recommend only 2 or 3 minutes because it's a little more active. You might want to cross your legs if that's available to you. Your arms could be out to the side. You don't have to hug. You could switch the cross. You could also hug the pillow with your arms. So this is where a second pillow might be more accessible. You could have the pillow between your legs, have your feet on the mat, have the other pillow. You may have to shift in this pose, and that's okay. It's more of a closed pose where started open, close, open, close. So think about like a sponge when it's full of water, and then when you squish it and all the water comes out. So same idea with the blood flow in the body, kind of slowing it down. You're not hurting yourself in any way. But then when you come out of a pose like this, fresh blood flows through your organs, through your veins. It's pretty cool. So because we're doing that action, you also need to think about drinking a lot of water. So sipping between the poses after your practice. So once you come out, you just set your feet back down, take a moment. And again, roll over to your side. Press yourself up to seated. Last pose, Shavasana, the most important pose. This one I would hold for anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes. You can go longer, you can go shorter, but to really maximize, the longer the better. My restorative teacher, Vicki, who was my first restorative teacher and who I did my restorative training with, says, and I've looked this up, this is not just Vicki saying this, but Vicki was my teacher. It takes 18 minutes for your body to physiologically relax. So maybe you want to hold it for 18 or 20 minutes, but you need to do what's best for you. So if there is a pose that you really find that's delicious for your body and you want to hold it longer, then you do that. Totally, it's for you, for your body. So for my Shavasana, I usually like to have a bolster under my knees, which can be mimicked with the pillows. I'm actually going to use my other towel. So it wasn't a roll and it just came out. So I'm going to roll it, and this is going to go under my knees. And then the other one's going to be my support for my head. And then probably, even though I'm a little bit warm, if I was going to hold this for 15, 18, 20 minutes, I'd probably still cover myself because my body temperature will likely drop. So you're going to set up. So if you prefer to come into constructive rest, like we started with your knees bent, feet on the mat, knees together, or standing tall, that's an option. But having support under your knees is really nice for the low back. You may find that this is not enough and you need another towel, and you can wrap it around this one and make your bolster even bigger. Or use your pillows. So this is kind of how I tuck myself in. So make sure your feet are covered unless you really don't want them covered. I come to lie back. Make adjustments if something shifted. Put your phone on your belly or on your belly under the blanket or above the blanket. Your washcloth. I usually like to have my arms under my blanket, hands on my belly. You can have your arms out to your side, wherever you're comfortable. Making any shifts here. And then coming to stillness as much as you can. Connecting with your breath once again, feeling the inhales as your belly rises, and feeling the exhales as your belly softens. And then think about that breath moving up to your midribs. So you don't have to do anything, just imagine it's happening. And then feel your midribs soften. And as you inhale, feel the breath move to your chest. And as you exhale, feel it soften. And the next round, As you inhale, feel your belly, your ribs, and your chest rise. And as you exhale, feel your chest, your ribs, and your belly soften. A little while longer to come out of this pose since it's the final pose and you'll likely hold it longer than the others. So you start by deepening your breath. Taking a fuller, longer, deeper inhale. Releasing your exhale. Just little by little making movement, starting with your toes and your fingers. Just a little movement. And then your feet and your hands, your ankles and your wrists. You have lots of options. You could reach your arms up over your head. You could reach them up toward the ceiling depending on what's going on with your shoulders and stretch. Make sure you're still breathing. You can move your head side to side. You can do any or all of these things. You could bend your knees and hug your knees into your chest. You could just stay still a little while longer. Eventually, you roll over to one side. Stay here. Maybe you stay here for a while. When you feel ready, you feel complete. You press your hands, use the strength of your hands and arms to press yourself up to seated. Excuse me. Bringing your head up last. And then you come back to a comfortable seat. You want to sit well, so take your folded support for your head and sit on the edge. And again, legs however you'd like them to be. Out long, cross-legged, Baddha Konasana. You want to sit tall and sit well. And then you close your eyes or you soften your gaze. And feel that connection with your breath once again. I am here. Bring your hands together at heart center in Anjali Mudra, pressing your left hand into your right as much as you press your right hand into your left. Firmly but lightly pressing your thumbs into your sternum, your heart center. Keep peace in your mind, keep strength in your body, and keep love in your heart. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. If you have any questions, you can comment below. You can email me at therealgofitgirl@gmail.com. If you have requests, let me know. I already know what I'm doing for next week's active class, but I am taking requests at any time, so feel free. If it's something really specific, it's okay. Like, everyone can benefit from the practices I put together, even if they're really specific. So have a lovely day. Take care of yourself. Self-love, self-care always. A lot of times that means doing yoga, and sometimes it means not doing yoga. So take care of yourself, and I hope to see you on the mat soon. Thanks.